Welcome to Wisdom Unveiled. Just a quick note before we begin. This deep dive involves translating conversations with Iranian philosophers, primarily Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani from the Marifat program. So some nuances might get lost, and we apologize for any potential discrepancies.
It's always a challenge with translation, but we'll do our best to capture the essence.
Definitely. So today we're continuing our journey into Hafez Shirazi. This is, believe it or not, our 30th exploration focused on him out of a planned 40.
30 deep dives on Hafez.
Yeah.
It really speaks to his depth.
It really does. And today we're honing in on, well, just the opening line of one particular ghazal discussed in Marifat. It goes, well, you'll like you're curious. Lo gasio, hikasian hatio.
Which translates roughly to, for years the heart sought the cup from us, that which it possessed, it implored from strangers.
Exactly. Just hearing it, there's an immediate sense of paradox, isn't there? Seeking something you already have.
Absolutely. It hits you right away. This tendency to look outwards for something that's actually inside. It's a theme that comes up again and again in these discussions on Hafez.
So fundamental. Let's break it down. That first word, for years. What's the significance of starting with such a long duration? It's not just a passing moment.
No, not at all. Years suggests something chronic, almost a deep-seated habit of the heart, a long, persistent quest. It's not a whim. It's been going on for a significant time.
A long search. And the seeker is the heart. In this context, we're not just talking about the organ, are we?
Not the physical heart, no.
Right.
Del here is, well, it's the core of our being, our consciousness, the I that feels and seeks and longs.
So the very essence of us is doing the seeking.
Right. And what's fascinating is that the verse implies this us, this heart, is seeking from us, but also looking elsewhere. The seeker and the source. They're intertwined.
Okay, so our deepest self is looking for something it inherently possesses, but asking strangers for it. And what it's looking for is the gilsho, the cup, often called jammy jam. What does that cup represent?
The jammy jam. Mythologically, it's King Jamshid's cup, said to reveal, everything, past, present, future, all knowledge.
So a symbol of complete insight, total knowledge.
Exactly. But the deeper layer, the interpretation that Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani really emphasize, is that the true jammy jam isn't some object out there, it's the human being itself.
We are the cup.
Our potential is the cup. Our very being holds the capacity for that complete knowledge, that total insight. It's the potential within us.
That connects to the idea of the Insan-e Kamil, the perfected human, right?
Precisely. Figures like the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, are seen as embodiments of this fully realized potential. They contain, in a sense, the reflection of the whole cosmos within themselves. It's about the immense capacity held within the human form.
Wow. So this incredible potential, this cup, is within us. But the second line says, Steve Okwe, what it possessed, it implored from strangers. Who are the strangers?
In Hafez's mystical vocabulary, Biganeh, the stranger, is anything external. Anything other than one's own true self, one's inner reality.
So material things, other people, external validation.
All of that, anything out there. So the heart, which actually holds the potential for this ultimate knowledge, this jammy jam, is looking for it outside itself, asking the strangers for what it already has.
That's the core of the paradox then. Why? Why do we do that? Why look externally for fulfillment or knowledge if the real source is internal?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe we just don't recognize our inner wealth. It's easier, perhaps, to see the things outside us. They seem more tangible, maybe?
It feels more concrete to chase a job or buy something than to, look within.
Exactly. The external is often more immediately apparent. It's like searching frantically for your keys everywhere, except the pocket they're actually in.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good analogy. And this whole idea reminds me of that Quranic verse they discussed in Marifat. Right.
We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves.
How does that verse connect here?
The interpretation brought out was that the journey often starts externally. We see the signs, fi alafak, in the horizons, in the world around us. That gets us thinking.
Okay, so the external world triggers something.
Yes, it acts as a trigger, maybe a mirror. But the real understanding, the actual possession of the knowledge those signs point to, happens fi anfusium, within themselves, inside.
So observation might be external, but comprehension is internal.
Precisely. We gather data from the outside, sure, But the synthesis, the understanding, the brewing of the knowledge, that's the internal jam. We are the locus of knowing. We are the mirror where the universe is reflected.
Okay, so if this potential, this jammy jam, is within, how do we activate it? How do we access it? What's the key?
The key, according to the philosophers discussing Hafez, is fundamentally our aql, our intellect, our reason.
Intellect, how so?
Well, think about it. Animals often have sharper senses than us, right?
Right.
Better sight, smell.
Sure.
But do they possess the Jami Chahannama, this world-revealing cup? Do they grasp the totality of existence? No. Why? Because they lack aql in the way humans possess it.
So intellect is what allows us to process sensory input into actual understanding.
Exactly. It takes us beyond just raw perception. And importantly, there's a distinction made within Islamic philosophy, which the discussion highlighted.
Between different kinds of intellect.
Yes. There's Aql-e that's like our everyday practical reason, figuring things out, planning, managing daily life, useful, necessary.
Okay, the practical mind.
But then there's Aql-e, the universal or complete intellect. This is a higher faculty. It's capable of grasping deeper truths, universal spiritual insights.
Ah, so it's this higher intellect, Aql-e, that unlocks the inner jammy jam.
That's the idea. Cultivating this higher reason, which has this almost spiritual dimension, allows us to access that inner potential for profound understanding.
That's interesting because sometimes you hear this idea that mystics were somehow against intellect.
Right, and the Marifat discussions really clarified this. They weren't against intellect per se. They were critical of getting stuck only in the partial intellect, the Aql-e, the worldly calculating mind, if it's cut off from wisdom and spirit.
So they were warning against a limited view of reason.
Exactly. They valued a higher intellect, an Aql-e or even Aql-e, perfected intellect, that's illuminated by spirit, by love, by compassion. Dr. Dinani sometimes speaks of the heart of intellect, Deli Aql. It's about integrating reason with deeper awareness.
An intellect infused with heart, essentially.
Yes. And a crucial function of this higher intellect, something also pointed out, is its ability to recognize what it doesn't know.
Awareness of ignorance.
Precisely. Recognizing the limits of your current understanding. That humility, enabled by Aql-e, is actually the doorway to real knowledge, stopping us from being arrogant or stuck in our partial views. It opens us up.
Knowing what you don't know as the start of wisdom. That makes a lot of sense.
It does. And this whole potential is situated in the broader Islamic view within a universe created between God's compassion, Rahman, and mercy, Rahim. Concepts like walaya, the spiritual guardianship associated with figures like the Prophet, also point to this immense capacity for knowledge embodied within the perfected human.
So it all circles back to this incredible inherent potential within us.
It really does. Which brings us back to Hafez's challenge in that opening line. It forces us to ask, are we actively trying to cultivate that inner vision? Are we working to access that Aql-e?
Or are we still knocking on the doors of strangers? Still looking outside for the treasure that's supposedly already within our own heart?
Are we trying to open our own inner door? That's the question Hafez leaves us with.
So to kind of wrap up our thoughts on just this one line, the core message filtered through these Marifat insights seems to be that our deepest yearning is actually for something latent within us.
Yes. Something accessible, not through external grasping, but through cultivating our own higher awareness, our higher intellect, undertaking that inner journey.
It really shifts the focus inward.
Completely. And it leaves us with maybe a provocative thought for reflection. If we genuinely possess this world-revealing cup within us, this immense potential, what does that actually mean for how we live day to day?
Right. How do we start to even recognize that potential, let alone use it? How does it change our search, our interactions, everything?
Big questions.
Yeah.
Just from one line of poetry.
Incredible. Well, that's all the time we have for this particular deep dive, but what a rich starting point. We'll definitely be continuing to explore Hafez's wisdom, drawing on these fascinating Marifat conversations.
Look forward to it.
And thanks to everyone listening. Just a final reminder about the nature of translation. We appreciate your understanding regarding any potential nuances lost between the original Farsi discussions and our English exploration.